Hi, this is Denise Matthew, and welcome to episode 33 of the Mandala of Life, 365 Days to Self-Discovery. Today we're moving from abstract collective energy to logical energy, away from experiences that begin and we see where they go, to something that's more predictable and more pattern-like. We're still staying in the throat center, but now we're moving from the words I believe to I lead. This is the energy of the Gate 31 that is all about natural leadership ability. But the key here is that this leadership is only as strong as its followers. This is influence and also the potential for power. But this influence and power only stays as long as your followers do, because without the people that follow you, there is no leadership within this energy. This is the second last gate of the throat center that we'll be discussing. The last one will be the Gate 33, which will bring the quarter of civilization to a conclusion. When we talk about the Gate 31, it's an energy that is quite different from the Gate 56 that we discussed last week. The Gate 56 is about sharing stories, concepts, ideas, and experiences that have been interwoven within a story. The Gate 31 is about influence and having an impact on the collective. This is energy that's about patterns, and this would be considered the energy of a logical leader. Logic is extremely important within the framework of the world that we live in. We need patterns to know that we will survive. Without the patterns, we may not know exactly what we're going to meet each day. The Gate 31 brings a leadership that will show the patterns that may sustain us in the future. There is no guarantee that it will happen, but this energy can show us some patterns that we might encounter in the future. But before we get into new content, let's briefly go over what we talked about in our last episode. In our last episode, we talked about the Gate 56 and how it's a throat gate that brings energy and a voice to the ideas that we have within our mind. This is abstract energy that talks about the experiences of being human. There are no patterns within this energy or logic. This is about history and past experiences that we've had or other people have had that we weave within stories to make it more interesting and appealing to others to listen to. These stories can be inspiring or a way of teaching concepts in a way that people can understand it better. Metaphors are very common within this energy. There are no formulas or any prediction within this energy, only an ability to tell a good story that may in some way change somebody's concept of the world around them. This is the energy that says, I believe. And if you want to find out more about the energy of the Gate 56, please check out episode 32, the Gate 56. With that said, let's get into some new content. And please don't forget to check out the other episodes of the Mandala of Life. Just like many fields in life, there are many types of leaders within our world. Some are tribal leaders that are usually appointed with the belief that the leader will support the people if the people support the leader. We also have democratic leadership, which is a different type of leadership. This leadership is the collective leadership and comes with a caveat. You must be voted in by the people or your followers. This leadership is dependent upon the followers to support them, to have the influence that they want to have within the collective. This is a gate of manifesting influence and is a natural expression of leadership that needs to be recognized to have its true influence. This is the 15th gate of the quarter of civilization, and the voice says, I lead. The Gate 31 is half of the channel of the Alpha, the 731. This is a projected channel, which means that it needs to be recognized in order for it to work properly. Otherwise, you can be talking about your leadership and nobody's actually listening to what you have to say. But when people are inviting or acknowledging your leadership, that's when you can have your true impact and power. As I said before, this leadership is only as good as its followers. And when we talk about support, it's not necessarily the support of a tribal leadership. This is something different. The followers within this leadership are just as important as a leader, because they're instrumental in making your leadership a strong leadership. While tribal leadership is about the leader deciding for the tribe what's best for them, this is democratic leadership where you are talking to your followers. You're asking what they need from you, where they want to go in the future. And by listening to what they say, you're trying to build patterns to the future that they want to see. And that's why the better the influence or the information that your followers can give you, the better you can be as a leader. Because this is the leadership that is channeling all the voices of your followers into one voice of leadership so that in some way you can secure the patterns for the future. The Gate 7, that is the harmonic of the Gate 31, is also called a role gate, which means that the personality profile lines of each individual person correspond to the type of leadership that they will exhibit when they're in the world. which means that the leadership energy within this channel talks to the archetype of what leadership means to the collective or to the world in general. And it also speaks to the expression of leadership that you yourself exhibit based on your particular profile. This channel connects the throat center to the identity center, which means that you speak from your identity or the depth of who you are. So if people criticize you, then that can be quite disheartening, where you don't want to speak anymore. So that's why it's even more important to be recognized or to be invited into sharing what you want to share. And when you are, people will see you for who you are, the leader that you want to be. And people will also see the value that you have to bring to the table. But since today we're focusing on the energy of the gate 31, let's talk about the hanging gate 31. This is the energy of a natural leader. So you're born with the energy of being able to be a leader. Yet because it's logical energy, the key here is that you need to have some basis of your leadership in order for you to actually be an effective leader, or to have the influence that you want to have, the power you want to have, or even the impact. And because of electromagnetics with relationships or even with planetary transits, a lot of times you'll get the full definition with this channel, which means that many times there'll be some connection with the gate 31, and this will make a full channel so you can have more of this influential leadership. A lot of people with this energy, even a hanging gate 7 or the hanging gate 31 or the full channel, are in leadership positions because they're usually recognized for being leaders. Yet what's most important in your recognition as a leader is to know that you need to be recognized in that leadership role. If you're trying to grab the leadership or in some way take something you haven't been given by other people, then usually it won't work out. This leadership is for good or ill. It doesn't necessarily mean you always have to be a benevolent leader that's looking out for your followers and trying to be the voice of the people. This can be a leadership that is all about getting some level of power and also the resources that can make your leadership even stronger. The thing about logical leadership is that it's more difficult to get the support or even the finances, or the mundane perspective would be the money that you need to become a leader. This is a leadership style that is directly connected to politics. So if you look at the political field of any type of political party, you notice that they do a lot of fundraising, a lot of money making, so that they can get that energy that they need to support their logical leadership, to bring the patterns into the future. There's a potential for people to get so money hungry that they just look at that perspective of it. And so that's why we have a lot of potential for people to say that there is a lot of corruption within politics. Whether we believe that to be true or not, logic needs energy, and energy in the mundane world or in the Maya is all about money and resources. Because only with the money and resources can we make the patterns for the future that the people want to see. So whatever people want to see in the future is what this leader, this particular leader, is meant to do. When we're talking about the leadership of the gate 31, it doesn't always have to be politically inspired. A lot of people might have political aspirations when they have this energy, but there are a multitude of other ways that we can be leaders within the world. But the one commonality within this energy is the concept that in some way you're serving the collective, whatever that might look like for you. We all bring an expression of our leadership to the table. And as Ra Uru said, that all leaders are an expression of the people that follow them. So that is the sense of a true leadership, in that you're the voice of the people that are following you, or the people that are helping you to be the most effective leader that you can be. There are some who lead from a place of having authority in a special field, so that they can bring this concept that they know a lot about something, and people trust in what they bring to the table and trust them to be a leader. So in other words, you've shown that you can actually do the job or do the work. That's the type of energy that we're talking about. This is not something that is just given to you because you seem like you would be a good leader. This is something that a lot of times we're having to prove, to say that we can actually do the job. This can also show up as a leader that wants people to actually assist and help with the leadership, to actually be in there, to be doing jobs so that their leadership can get to be the best it can be. And it really does come back to the concept of checking in with the people that are following you, to see how they're doing, to see what they need, to see where they want to go in the future, and to see where you can improve so that you can be a better voice for who they are. As long as you are doing what they feel you should be doing and they feel like their voices are being heard, they will support you. But the thing about this leadership is that as soon as they don't feel that you're aligning with their values or what they want to bring to the table, then that's when they can drop back and not be supportive of your leadership anymore. And when that happens, there really isn't much that you can do other than be a figurehead, and your leadership no longer can exist. And this is also the type of leadership that can go very light or very dark based on who is actually wielding the power. And because this is a collective energy and it's collective logical energy, there can be a lot of criticism against the person who's in the leadership position. So because of that, having a thick skin can be really essential. But sometimes that's not so easy to have when you have the full channel, the 731, where you actually are speaking from the identity of who you are. But learning to understand that it is not personal. Collective leadership is not personal. It's about getting the patterns that we need to get into the future so that we can have the best chance of having a good future and where we're going to survive and get what we need as a collective, as a humanity in general. So knowing that the leadership is not about you, it is about the people, and that people will like you and others won't. And to try and focus on the people that actually want you to be the leader and not focus on the people who are being negative towards you or don't want you to be in that leadership position. The nature of logic is that there will always be criticism and there will always be people who like the patterns. And if you can make peace with that and understand that that's part of the leadership that you bring to the table, then you can be an effective and influential leader and bring what you can bring to the table in a way that you can be supported in what you're doing for the collective, and you can be the voice of the people that can lead them into a better future. As I said, there are a lot of different ways that this type of leadership can express itself. It can express itself through being a celebrity, music, or any type of work that you do in the world, because you're going to be influenced by your whole body graph, and the leadership will be the expression of it in the world. So for instance, someone like Beyonce, who's a leader in her field for music, she has a loyal following who support her in her music, and they support her in what she does. She is an authority in her music field as well, in that she's done a lot of work and over the years has gained more influence within her music to actually be a voice for the people that support her music and support her in her endeavor to bring the music to the world. Another person who was actually in a leadership position, who had a lot of book deals and had a lucrative modeling career, is Chrissy Teigen, who lately has fallen from grace, which shows the concept that you are only as strong as the followers who are supporting your leadership. When her followers didn't like some of the things she'd done in the past and they stopped supporting her, that's when her leadership faltered, and right now she's trying to get back up where she used to be. Understanding that leadership comes in all shapes and sizes, that when we wait and are acknowledged and our aura says that we're ready to speak, then that is when our leadership can be recognized. And when it is, that's when we can have the power that we really want to have in the world. If we try and jump and be a leader before it's our time, then that's when we can stumble and fall and not actually get the impact that we want to have in the world. And it's important to remember that there will always be people who love your leadership style, and there'll be people who don't. And that's okay. You're not for everybody, but you're definitely for somebody. And when you've learned your own personal style of leadership and you can bring it to the collective to show them that you can be the voice that they need, then the mandala of life turns again and we move into reflection. This is a voice that says, I remember. This is a place where after our experiences are over, we can ponder what it all meant. Because in the experiences of life, all that remains is the memories that we have after the experience is over. This is the energy of the gate 33, the gate of privacy. Well, that's all for now, and I'll be back next week with episode 34, the gate 33, the gate of retreat. Until then, take care, and I'll see you again soon.